Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another linear search algorithm video, and we are on to the last language we are going to cover, that at least I'm going to cover. We're going to move on to Java here, and I will not waste any time because this will probably be the most lengthiest setup of this linear search, probably for any project within Java, because it does take a little bit more. That meme that compares Java to Python, which is like a dictionary compared to one sheet of paper. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. So we're gonna jump right into it here. I already got my main set up. Uh, Not main. It's a class I named main. So that being said, we do need to set up our main, our entry point of the project, but here in Java. So there's main. It does take some strings for arguments if you ever want to use a command line, which we might cover that. If you do, let me know, and we shall cover that. In the meantime, we're not going to use the arguments because we're going to just run it all from a file that I already have set up with 10,000 numbers, as you will see here when I grab that. But moving on to grabbing or creating an array of integers that I'm gonna kind of cheat here because I already know how many lines are in the file. Since Java does not have dynamic arrays like that of C++ or C, we would have to create a utility function to do that for us, which is kind of out of scope of this video. So we are just going to create an array of 10,000 spaces to store our numbers. Which normally you wouldn't do this with a file because you would never know how many lines are in the file. So with that said, we have our number. I should probably make this numbers because it holds multiple. We're going to move on. I will need what is called a try-catch block as we read from a file, because they do the file, the way we are going to read in the file does throw an exception, so we have to catch said exception. So we're going to do a try catch here. Let me catch all this, catch exception. I'm just going to call it E, and then we're going to say system.out.println E, and that's done for that. I'm going to read off all the functions, or just call all the functions that we need here that we are going to need. They are going to be in red because they're not created yet, which we will create shortly. And then we're going to create the linear search function, numbers, and then use the same number I have been using in previous videos, 3,630. I do know that number is in the file, so it should work. And then we're going to use a number that is not in the file. Alrighty, numbers. We do not have to do any kind of special pass by value or reference because arrays in Java are passed by reference. So no funny asterisks like that of, or ampersands like that of C. So now we got read file, linear search, two functions that we need. I'm gonna do similar layout of the Python video, which you can find on my channel. I will also post a link down below, and also I will post the explanation of linear search algorithm down below as well. I am going to print out inside the linear search function. I will not create a utility print function like that I did in the C++ video. So we're going to create the read file, which static void read file. just going to take the int numbers here. And then, like I said, I will need to throw an exception. So the way we will read this file here is going to use a buffer reader, which it imported java.io.bufferreader. That's where that came from. Reader equals new buffer reader, new file reader. That also imported java.io file reader. This is where my path to my file is going to come in handy, right there. Hopefully that fits in the screen. We might lose a semicolon. Kind of long. And then let me slide back over here because I need a new line. Then we're going to need a string line that is going to hold the lines that we read in from the file. I'm going to create an int I. We're going to set that equal to 0 because we're going to increment that so we can index our numbers array. So while line is equal to reader dot readLine doesn't equal null, open brackets, and we're going to do numbers. So we use I equals, and then we're going to use integer class. And we're going to say parse int because we're going to take the line and we're going to convert it to an int because we do have numbers in said file. And then we just increment I, and we should be done. And then we're going to come down outside of the while loop, and we're going to say reader dot close. Now the reason why I use exception up here instead of say a specific exception, because both of these file reader and buffer reader throw two different kind of exceptions, and this exception kind of covers both cases. So that takes care of the read file. We're going to drop right down here. We're going to say private static void linear search. And we're going to pass in our numbers array. And then we need our target. Open the brackets. And then we just simply go ahead and loop like we've been doing. I is less than numbers, if I can find that, then dot length, I plus plus, open the brackets, if numbers I is equal to the target, say system dot out dot print line, the target. And to concatenate inside of this printout statement is just a plus. Leave a space. Found at index space I. And then we can exit on out of there. So we'll do a simple return. It's a returns a void, so you don't have to add anything to the end of that return statement. Else, if we get to the end, we hit nothing, system out dot print line target plus was not found. Alrighty, so that takes care of the read file and linear search. Here we're looking for 3,630 and also 11,000. This should pass, this should fail, or at least run all the way through. This one should not, so let's go ahead and give it a try. $3,630 found at index 4,437. 11,000 was not found. As you can see, linear search is pretty quick using 10,000 numbers. But like I've said, the more numbers, more data you end up getting, the longer this will take because you will be O of n. So that is how you write linear search within Java. Hopefully you found the video useful. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.